Here's a home phone, and here's a home phone. They're both reliable and provide unlimited local calls. But that's where the similarities end. This one includes more than 18 popular calling features, like call waiting, caller ID, three-way calling, and call forwarding. The other one charges extra for those, as much as $34.50 more a month if you add them all up. This one includes voicemail. The other one does not. This one has low long-distance rates, just 15 cents a minute to the US. The other one charges 47 cents a minute for the same thing. So, which one would you choose for your home phone? This one is Revvoice, and you can get it for as low as $14.99 a month. Revvoice, the better choice. Sign up for Revvoice today for as low as $14.99 a month. You get lots of free features, lower long-distance rates, and great sound quality. Call us at 601-8992 to sign up for Revvoice today.
Coming up tonight, a deadly Shantytown fire in Abaco killed at least 2 people. The new year started just as last year ended, in deadly violence. Junkanooers headed back to Bay Street this morning. We'll bring you scenes from the showdown. Plus, Rastafarians call for equal rights in the Bahamas. We've got those stories and much more for you tonight. I'm Nakia DeVoe, and this is NB12. Good evening and Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for joining us here at Cable 12 Studios. Topping news tonight, another Shantytown goes up in flames, this time in Abaco, where about 100 makeshift homes were destroyed and at least 2 lives were lost. NB12 traveled to the island today, where we got an up-close look at the charred remains and spoke with those who lost everything. From 9:30 p.m. to 3 a.m., the fire at the Pigeon Pea Shantytown raged on for nearly 6 hours, destroying everything in its path. It is believed that just about 100 homes were destroyed. Residents of the Shantytown looked on helplessly as the flames danced from one building to the next. But what was even more tragic was the death of Darlene Jacobs and her son Donald. Their charred remains were discovered among the burnt rubble.
Total devastation, yes. Property, of course, we can always replace it, but loss of lives, we had 2, unfortunately, we had 2. And of course, that's something that we have to come to grips with.
Police officers, social services officials, members of the Red Cross, and NEMA officials, led by Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis, traveled to Abaco today to assess the devastation left behind by the inferno. Smoke was still rising from the rubble as they walked through to see what was left of the illegal community.
Please, Jesus, send some help for the people, please, Jesus. See if you can help the people out, because we need some help.
Buildings that once served as homes for at least 100 families are now empty shells. Davis said the government sympathizes with the situation of those living in such communities, but said it cannot allow substandard communities like this to continue.
We understand and we empathize with the residents here, but I cry out to the residents. They need to try to help themselves. We are going to do our part. Our part is to ensure that they live in a safe, sanitary surroundings. No. But for us to do that, they have to adhere to the rules of building. They have to adhere to the rules of the sanitary environmental concerns that we have. And they must help us by doing those things.
He said the first order of business is a short-term plan to secure the area, to ensure that no one starts to build on the land again. Davis said police beefed up security as of this morning. The second order of business, according to Davis, is to identify the property owner. Well, with the help of a translator, Davis spoke directly to the many Haitians and some Bahamians living in the Pigeon Pea Shantytown. His message was clear. Help us, help you.
We will not help each other if you don't abide by the rules and the regulations.
Nous pas capable aider si vous pas suivre loi et régulation ça le fait yo.
But one resident told our news team that that's just not possible. Many of the residents, he says, are too poor to afford proper housing.
I could pay my apartment. I could pay the rent. Some people, they can't pay. They can't afford that. When they work permit come in at $2,000, so they have to work hard.
Well, Social Services Minister Melanie Griffin said that's where her team comes in. Officials from the department are trying to determine exactly how many people were displaced and what their needs are. But Griffin said that is a difficult task, as many of the residents are too afraid to come forward.
We're making efforts right now to determine where we can find shelter for persons who would need shelter, and of course to put in place a mechanism that persons will be able to get food assistance as well. We've also set up a place where assessments could be done, and we're hoping that all of the victims, fire victims, will be able to come and be properly assessed so we could know truly what the needs are.
Police say it is too soon to tell what caused the fire that killed the mother and child. Assistant Commissioner Seymour said police have not ruled out any possibilities and are approaching the investigation with an open mind. 4 shootings in just over 24 hours have left 2 men dead and another 2 men in hospital. One of the murders that occurred late last night pushed the 2013 murder count to 120. According to police, the victim was walking on Ida Street just south of Balfour Avenue when a man armed with a handgun approached him and shot him several times before fleeing on foot. Police say the victim was taken to hospital where he died from his injuries. The second deadly incident, which marked the first murder for the new year, occurred around 2 this morning at Hospital Lane. Now, police say the victim was sitting in a vehicle when a man armed with a handgun shot the victim several times before fleeing on foot. That victim also died in hospital after being transported in a private vehicle. Meantime, police are also investigating 2 shooting incidents that occurred in New Providence. The first incident occurred around 6:15 p.m. yesterday when a man was shot on 8th Street just off Robinson Road. Police say when they arrived on the scene, they met the victim with gunshot wounds about the body. The second shooting occurred around 4:35 this morning. Police say that victim was walking behind a building off East Bay Street when a gunman in a white Honda opened fire on him, hitting him in the leg and abdomen. Both men were taken to hospital where they were detained in serious condition up to airtime. A man who was walking on Prince Charles Drive early this morning became the country's latest traffic fatality. Police say he was struck opposite the Elizabeth Estates police station, but did not provide any more details on the incident. This marks the first traffic fatality for the year. The Department of Transport and Aviation reported a spike in traffic fatalities in 2013 compared to 2011 and 2012. Minister of Transport and Aviation Glenys Hannah Martin has said 90% of road traffic fatalities are caused by human error. She said her ministry is looking at several ways to promote and increase road safety in the Bahamas. Well, let's move on to some exciting news now. The 2014 New Year's Day Junkanoo Parade started on time this morning as several of the country's most well-known groups competed for the top spot. An energetic crowd stayed until the late morning hours to see all of their favorite groups. Dana Smith reports.
Hundreds lined Bay and Shirley Streets this morning to kick off the new year, where they celebrated with a carnival king and queen, jeweled and glittered cowboys, a few United States presidents, and even ancient royalty at the New Year's Day Junkanoo Parade.
First out the gate this morning, the Shell Saxon Superstars unleashed the spirit of carnival on the streets of Nassau, with their dancers and musicians showing off some of the world's most popular festivals, from Barbados, Rio de Janeiro, Trinidad and Tobago, New Orleans, and many more. With the country planned to begin its own carnival next year, as was announced by the Prime Minister last October, the Saxons gave the Bahamas a taste of what local city streets can soon expect with colorful soca dancers. The Roots brought ancient royalty to Bay Street under their theme, Kings and Queens of the Bible. Well-known biblical figures including Queen Sheba and King Solomon were portrayed in their costumes, and beautiful fan bearers danced in the wake.
Also taking to Bay Street this morning, the original Congos, who just last week mourned the loss of 4 of their own from their Fox Hill community.
Family and friends of the victims who were shot in last Friday's drive-by shooting in Fox Hill held hands and sung hymns as they marched down Bay Street. The group was set to appear under their theme, Colors of Emancipation. Although the group led a few parade floats down Bay Street, the majority of the group was not clad in costume. Rather, they were dressed in the original Congos group t-shirt and t-shirts depicting the faces of those who lost their lives in the shooting. One member of the group announced to the crowd, "We will prevail," explaining the Fox Hill community wanted to show a united front in the wake of the tragic shooting that killed 4 and injured 7 others. The group paid homage to those still recovering, and many were in tears as they held posters memorializing those who lost their lives. Just as dawn was breaking, one family burst onto Bay Street in a colorful array of stars and stripes, with their theme simply titled America. American Eagles danced across Rawson Square, as did Michael Jackson, while a larger-than-life-size President Abraham Lincoln was escorted down Bay Street by Junkanoo dancers. And much like the Prime Minister shuffled down Bay Street with the Valley Boys on Boxing Day, the United States Embassy's acting deputy chief of mission took to Rawson Square to wave flags and dance with one family. He praised one family's theme as a, quote, excellent sign of friendship.
Everybody watching. Happy New Year. God bless America and God bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Thank you.
Also celebrating the relationship between the Bahamas and its closest neighbor to the north, Boxing Day winners, the Valley Boys, came out under the theme, The Great United States of America. New York City paid a visit to Rawson Square in the Valley Boys banner, while other well-known places in the United States were depicted in countless dancing Junkanooers. Glittery versions of well-known American character Uncle Sam were also on hand to entertain the crowd. And as the Valley Boys arrived in Rawson Square, the President of the United States, the First Lady, and Secret Service were on hand to recreate his swearing-in ceremony.
Preserve, protect, and defend. Preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the United States. So help you God. So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
As for who will be crowned the champions of the New Year's Day parade, the crowd couldn't agree on which group they thought would take the top spot.
Valley Boys. Definitely the Fox Hill this morning. Definitely the Valley Boys.
Reporting for MB12, I'm Dana Smith.